Well. Welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watu-K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. If you're brand new, welcome aboard. Please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. If you're returning, welcome back. I appreciate everybody's support. So let's talk a little New York Knicks. They are just about to start the regular season. They'll be beginning it in Boston. Just a brutal schedule. First four games includes Boston, Indiana, Cleveland. It's like, why didn't they throw, Oklahoma City in there as well? My gosh. But this time last year, the Knicks were coming off a second-round exit where they looked very competitive. And so pretty much the same situation as they are now. And they decided to mostly maintain their core, and they were betting on the players they already had growing and developing, and that chemistry carrying them to new heights, getting them to that next level. Well, the Knicks did seem to feel that the goal was to win the whole thing, and they had to make some drastic moves in order to get there. So what did they do? They traded a stockpile of draft capital for Mikal Bridges. Then they moved the player who led the rebuild from the beginning, Julius Randle, along with fan favorite and my fellow Paisan Dante DiVincenzo, in a deal for Karlanthonytowns. And I will argue they needed help at center in the worst way. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency. Mitchell-Robinson can't stay on the court, okay? And so they needed the depth at center. There's no question about it. Now, Jalenbrunson, of course, leads the show, and hopefully he gets a lot more attention for MVP voting. But just in the postseason alone, he averaged 32.4 points and 7.5 assists per game, and he shut up a lot of critics who did not believe he could be the best player on a championship-caliber team. Now, you factor in the trade of Karl-Anthony Towns. That is sort of a double down on Brunson's emergence. Because what you're doing is you're pairing Brunson with one of the most dynamic offensive big men in the NBA. And this is a center who can stretch the floor and offer him more lanes to work with than ever before. That pick and roll with Brunson and Cat, you're going to see it a lot, and it's going to work. Now, because the Knicks play a very bruising style with Tom Thibodeau as their head coach, you always need depth, especially with the wings. Well, as far as wings go, the Knicks might have the best defensive duo in the league. Newly resigned OG Anunoby and the newly acquired Mikal Bridges. Now, Anunoby gets comparisons to Kawhi Leonard to an extent. And, you know, he's shown signs of a dependable mid-range jump shot off the dribble. He could shoot a three when he needs to. And we saw how much it was needed last year. In game 2 of the second round against Indiana, when he hurt his hamstring, that's pretty much what ended his playoff run. But in that game, he had 28 points in the first half alone. He was showing the aggression and the offensive poise the Knicks need to beat the top teams in the East. So I was very glad that they brought him back. I mean, it was very expensive. I mean, $40+ million a year. That's not exactly chump change, but he does offer a skill set that nobody else can really give. And had he left the Knicks, Philadelphia probably would have gone out there and scooped him right up. So I felt it was a necessary overpay. Bridges, well, he hasn't been shooting very well in the preseason. During the warm-up games, he shot just 2 for 19. His jump shot, people have been saying his jump shot has been altered, like it's a different form. Now, hey, players tinker with their fundamentals. They'll try different things. He's never had really a bad shooting season, but it is something to bear watching as the season starts. And then you look at the bench. Well, the Knicks still boast Josh Hart, Miles McBride. They're coming off career years, huge playoff performances. Josh Hart's had kind of a quiet preseason. Now, he has actually said he has felt lost on the court. And that's not the right message coming from your energy and culture guy. I think Hart and McBride, Hart will probably start, McBride will come off the bench. But whether it takes a rotation change or not, I'm not worried about Josh Hart. He is the glue of the team. He is the straw that stirs the drink. I'm not worried about Josh Hart, except that he keeps tweeting about the Yankees and things like that. But that's another story. As far as the big men go off the bench, well, Precious Achiuwa and Mitchell Robinson will eventually return to the lineup. Achiuwa will be out 2 to 4 weeks, which is a loss. Robinson is out until, well, we're hoping January at this point. But the depth in the rotation did look very good during the preseason. So right now what you're looking at is deucemcbride. I'm assuming Josh Hart starts. You have tylerkolek, the rookie at point guard, who I like a lot from Marquette. I think he's going to become a fan favorite very quickly. Campayne, brought in from Philly. He looked like a terrific veteran pickup as well. Your depth at center, though, is still very limited. You have the question of rim protection with Towns. He was mostly a power forward, really, in Minnesota. Now, with Robinson and Achua out, you pretty much have to play like a Jericho Sims. And he's like that colt, that baby horse that is still struggling to even walk. And he's so raw, he's practically made out of salmonella poisoning. Okay. Now, the Knicks did have other drafted players who did shine. Bacoma Dadier, their first-round pick, played very well in his 2 games. Kolek, he played basically 10 years more mature than his actual age. And what I'm so excited about is that I think if he plays 10 minutes a night, that could give Brunson the rest he needs to really be fresh and to be sharp late into the season. Don't forget last year in the final game of the playoffs, Brunson fractured his shooting hand. So I'm glad he's healthy now. So to me, the Knicks are one of the absolute best teams in the Eastern Conference. You can't take that away from them. But the lack of big men in a conference that features, Pascal Siakam, Joel Embiid, Kristaps Porzingis, it is a concern early on. But I predict the Knicks will go 53-29, come in second in the Atlantic Division, third overall in the East. But it's a great conference. Besides the Knicks, you got Boston, Philly, Cleveland, Indiana, Milwaukee, even Orlando and Miami are up there. But it is going to be a very exciting season. In fact, I will be going to my first Knicks game in 10 years when I go to Charlotte on Black Friday. Can't wait. Well, everybody, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you right back here with more content from you know where, the Wicker Chair.